Your information station. WTIM.
Welcome to the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper, your host. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. You'll find the streams on the TaylorvilleDailyNews.com Facebook or on YouTube at WTIM TV. Pana Economic Development Director Kirby Kessler in studio right now. Welcome back to the program.
Yes,
Kirby.
thanks for having me.
It's great to have you here once again. Recently, I guess it's not a brand new role, but a relatively new role for you over the past year or so. How's it been as the Director of Economic Development for Pana?
It's been great. So before me coming into the city's position here, this role has been vacant for nearly a decade now. So there was a lot of catch up to do. We're making a lot of headway, pursuing a lot of leads that, are going to, further launch Pana into the vision that we all see it being. So
yeah, as Economic Development Director, what are some of the things that you do for the city of Pana?
I feel like I have about a 50-50 split of grant writing for the city for various projects, whether it be economic development related, infrastructure improvement grants, just different things like that. But then also the other 50%, I would say, is pursuing those leads, entering into redevelopment agreements with different development organizations or new businesses. So just different things like that.
What over the past, let's see, how long have you been Economic Development Director now? Year and a half?
A little bit over a year and a half.
Year and a half. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Over the past year and a half, what are some accomplishments that you've had that you'd like to share?
So whenever I first came on, that was whenever we were wrapping up the Jack Flash project. It had finished going through all of the necessary processes with the city council. So that was kind of the start of what I was doing. So we've seen that. We have been awarded some significant grants for infrastructure improvement projects. We've also entered into, I think we're on our 7th redevelopment agreement now. So all in a year and a half, there's been a lot that's been accomplished.
You mentioned the Jack Flash.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a little bit of background on what is that, if you would.
So Jack Flash is a travel center. They're based out of the Effingham area, but they have locations all over central Illinois. So basically what we did was we took an entire city block that had, some historical buildings on them, but the majority of those were derelict properties that it would have taken a fortune to bring back to life if it was even possible. But essentially, our group that was involved in that, which was generated through Pana Pride, they went in and they helped do the negotiations with all of the property owners on that block. I believe there was somewhere in the upper 20s of property owners that had to be worked with to negotiate a contract in order to, acquire that land. So they were able to get that all squared away, and it was the demolition of that entire city block for this new redevelopment.
You said over the past year and a half, about 7 redevelopment agreements.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. When you think about just one redevelopment agreement, I want to know why I guess what's the purpose of a redevelopment agreement? Let's start it there just to give a little bit of background.
Okay, so we can talk about our first one that we did, and that was with Scooped. It's our new ice cream parlor and coffee shop. So essentially what they did with that project, Nick and Amanda Crinline, they took an old Phillips 66 gas station that was out on the east end of town, and they wanted to renovate it and open up this ice cream parlor and coffee shop. So what we did was we utilized local incentives such as our Tiffin Business District to help incentivize that project. The city is now really forward thinking in how they want to invest in these projects as well. We have the Tiffin Business District that are there to assist these redevelopment agreements. So, we worked out an agreement with the owners of Scooped, and we helped incentivize this project. So.
And another way to put it, a redevelopment agreement is anytime a business wants to improve or shift their focus on what they want to do. They kind of have
Mhm.
to talk to you as well
Mhm.
as the city, and you make that happen with them. You work with them to make their new vision happen.
Correct.
Okay.
So, I think it's safe to say that if some of the properties in Pana are not already, if they're not already occupied, they require significant work to be able to be occupied. So we have to offer some sort of local incentive package to get people to sign on to such a deal.
Mm,
So.
mm. And you also mentioned how you've achieved a number of grants as well
Mhm,
over the course of the last year and a
mhm.
half. What would you like to highlight?
So our biggest one that we had is we applied through Congressman Davis's congressional directed spending program, and we were able to be awarded. I think it was $1.88 million for the replacement of one of our main arteries of our water system that goes from out at the water plant, which is out at Lake Pana, and it brings it down into the actual city. So it's going to be a complete um, repair of that entire line, or not even repair, it's a replacement of that entire line.
A
So,
complete overhaul.
yeah, it's going to help a lot with, our leaking water infrastructure, help with water line breaks throughout the town. So it's just going to be a more conducive system for our water system.
Mm. And what other grants would you like to share as far as the development of Pana?
Oh, let me think here. What was the other one? Oh, recently we were just awarded what's called the RISE grant.
Mm.
So it doesn't actually apply to any project itself, but it's a planning grant. And so what our plans are with that is that we're going to do a complete economic recovery and infrastructure improvement plan for Pana's TIF district, which is essentially Pana's downtown area.
Mm.
So we just kind of want to show where we were, what we've accomplished, and what we hope to accomplish in the future.
Where, or rather, how would you describe the status of the downtown district of Pana right now?
It's booming. It's exciting. You can drive through and you can understand and really feel that something's happening there. So Jack Flash, I feel like, was the overall catalyst for this surge that we're seeing in our economic development in the downtown. But since then, we've had like just this weekend we had Sparrow Bicycle Company. They recently entered into a redevelopment agreement with the city, and they purchased a building downtown and renovated it, and we have a bicycle shop in our downtown. So this weekend they had a soft opening for that. But it's just little things like that that continue to show the resiliency of the Pana community, and also these unique features that downtown Pana is going to have.
What kind of openings do you foresee in the future for new businesses in Pana and downtown or otherwise?
Well, we just actually entered into another redevelopment agreement here in the last couple of weeks. So there are 4 properties that are included in this redevelopment agreement, 2 buildings and 2 lots, where we're going to have an arrangement of retail, dining, and then lodging accommodations as well. So I think just as we continue to go, um, I mean, our success rate has been so great so far that I really don't see anything stopping us. We've not been told no on anything. Everybody is so far appeared to have enjoyed working with the city. I believe we're creating really healthy working relationships with these different development groups that are coming in and different business owners. And we're really trying to have a healthy balance between our locals who are wanting to open up their business plus incentivizing this outside interest as well.
Mm,
So
mm. And how does having that outside interest benefit the locals?
I think it shows people that, yeah, you may have had this dream for some time now, but maybe been afraid to take that initial plunge. I could definitely understand how that could be scary, especially post COVID. But I think whenever they're seeing that now there's outside interest that's coming into this community, it's giving them that confidence to take that next step with this dream that they've had for a business. And I think it's really working out well for us. I think everybody's working really well
Mm,
together.
mm. That's director of the Pana Economic Development Director Kirby
Mhm.
Castor here on the WTIM Morning Show. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville. You'll always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first.
WTIM. WTIM.
It's the WTIM Morning Show. I'm Avery Cooper, your host. Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville, where you always do better with Landmark and People's Bank and Trust, where they put people first. I have Pana Economic Development Director Kirby Kastler in studio, and we're giving an update on the development and economic situation of Pana. It's great to have you here, Kirby. And, you mentioned something about the lake a little bit. You kind of got into how the water, you have some water improvements and the drainage and everything going on in the leaks. Well, I want to give you another chance to talk a little bit more at the lake. I understand you're developing another TIF district out on the lake. Tell me about what that is and what you hope to accomplish with that.
Okay, so we are creating a second TIF district out of the lake. We've gotten everything ran through council as we were supposed to do. Essentially, the concept behind creating another TIF district out of the lake is that we want to see where, if there's any new development out there, the TIF district encaptures that property tax difference. And so what we hope to accomplish with that is by generating funds into the second TIF district, we can then put that back into further development, whether it be economic development or just infrastructure improvements. So the lake property out there, that's all within city limits out there, but we don't offer city utilities to the entire part. So what we're hoping to accomplish with the TIF district is to help, expand the water lines around the lake to all the property owners out there, but then also to improve the road system out there as well. So we hope with this TIF district, we can accomplish those goals.
What are some of the steps that you need to take in order to establish that second TIF district?
We worked with Moran Economic Development out of Edwardsville. And so we had to, send out letters notifying everybody that lived out there. We had to send out letters to people who lived within so many feet of it that it wasn't even going to impact, but we still had to let them know. We had to have a public hearing, all different types of things to get that in place. But overall, I feel like the city council and city officials understood the benefit of having that second TIF in place. We are seeing how the first TIF is really helping us in another way too. So we wanted to take advantage of that again out at the lake.
Provide me a little bit of background on how that first TIF district has been helping the city of Pana.
Okay, so essentially, whenever you create a TIF district in your downtown, you have to be able to make the statement, make the claim that that area is dilapidated. And I think that was pretty safe to say whenever Pana's first TIF district was created. I was not there whenever it was done. It was done several years ago, but Pana's downtown was somewhat deteriorated. So they were able to make the claim that, okay, if we create this TIF district, anytime somebody comes in and say, enters into these redevelopment agreements, it's safe to say that with those renovation efforts, their property taxes are going to increase because of those renovations. And now with it being occupied with a business. So capturing what that base rate tax value is with what it is going to be increased to, we continue to just generate funds into that TIF. So what we do is we then take it, you can only use TIF funds within the TIF district boundaries. So we just keep regenerating them into future projects, whether it be infrastructure or economic development. We just keep funneling it back in to keep making those improvements.
In a way, it kind of feeds itself.
It does. It does. If you utilize it correctly, it's definitely a great option and incentive to have in your community.
Mm-hmm. You also are doing something with the downtown in terms of the storefronts as well. Tell me a little bit more about that.
So even prior to me working for the city, they had what's called the Facade Improvement Grant Program. So essentially what that means is that we had a match grant project or program up to $5,000. So say somebody downtown wanted to make some kind of improvements to the front of the building. It could be anywhere from a new front door to an entire, renovation of the entire front. The city would kick in 50% of that 5,000 and above project. So I approached the city council about, okay, we need to be a little bit more realistic with what things cost now. So we doubled it. So now we'll pitch in up to $5,000 if the overall project's 10,000 or greater. And so we opened it up to downtown Locust Street for 4 blocks. And we ended up having 9 applicants take advantage of that program. So we're really hoping to see kind of this overall spruce up of our downtown. So
Right. Make it look nice and pretty.
Yes, exactly. And I think that if you show your property owners in your downtown area and your business owners that you're invested in what their building looks like as well, that they're a little bit more apt to participate in the program. And that's what we saw.
Well, and it sounds like you're trying to make it look nicer and more appealing for people who are coming out of town and so that they want to come and shop and stuff. But what would you maybe say to somebody who says, you know what, I like the old feel of kind of how it looks right now? That's like the question. What would you say to someone that says that?
We actually really support that claim. We like the historical integrity of our buildings in the downtown. And so it's not necessarily to modernize them. Sometimes it's to enhance those historical features. Those projects are not cheap to do that, and we understand that. So we really wanted to show that we were invested in the overall appearance of their building as much as they are. So
you can either modernize or enhance the historical value.
Correct.
Okay. And so, as you mentioned, anything. You can do anything you want with the front of that store. That is really cool. Anything else that you'd like to share in terms of the facade grants that, or maybe applications, anything along those lines?
Yeah, so this is open to any business and property owner within the TIF district, and I do want those other business and property owners to understand that if they weren't included in that, if their building didn't fall within that designated area that we made this last time, we are going to open it up again after this. So we are definitely not done with this push. And if you were in that area, but for some reason not able to participate this time, it's still very much open for you to participate if you'd like.
All right, Kirby, we have just a few more seconds. I wanted to give you a chance to provide any more information about stuff going on with Pana, or we could just sign off and say adieu.
I actually do want to say something real quick too. I want to let those that are business owners in town know that those incentives, such as TIF and business district incentives, they are not just available to new businesses and new property owners. They are very much available to you as well. If you have any questions or you have any potential project ideas that you would like to do for your business, just give me a call.
That is Pana Economic Development Director Kirby Kastner. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Your stream brought to you by Landmark of Taylorville. You'll always do better with Landmark, and People's Bank and Trust. They put people first.